I wanted to ask you, because Richarlison's been mentioned, and if I go back to last season, which his goals were vital. I remember him getting a winner against Chelsea at Goodison Park, and his goals were pivotal to Everton having a chance of staying up. Now, obviously, he ain't going to be there this year because of the financial restraints that are on Everton, and they had to sell him to Spurs. How are they going to get out of this if they can't afford to go and have a player of that sort of quality?
Well, that's the biggest question of all, and it needs to be addressed in January. How they're going to do it, I really don't know. I think they're going to have to wheel and deal in some form. They're going to have to. I think they're going to have to trim the squad, free up some space on the wage bill, and then see what's available. But it's a sort of double-edged sword at the minute, because the quality of player that he would want to come in to lift Everton wouldn't necessarily be wanting to come to Everton at the minute, given the challenges that they're facing in terms of being down at the bottom. It's a really, really difficult situation. But I would say about Frank, he was consistent at the start of the season. He's not just those words about knowing what was coming this year. He said it back in. He said it back in August, September time. He was very, very realistic about what was in store for Everton. And I mean, I know there is an awful lot of scrutiny on him at the minute, but they shouldn't have lost that game yesterday. They shouldn't have lost in the final minute. They had a point. They had a point, and it was there, and a point wouldn't have been the worst result. And for it was a bit of, I don't know, rashness, a bit of hot-bloodedness when the crowd was sort of getting fidgety in the last couple of seconds, and from having the ball, they then conceded on the counter-attack, and everything came crashing down, and that means it's made the situation so much worse.
We heard the boos then ringing out at Goodison as a result of what happened yesterday. Do you think he still, though, has the support of the board? Can they even afford to sack him if they can't even wheel and deal, like you're saying, in January?
Natalie, I've said this. I've been very consistent with this even before the World Cup. Frank had a run in September where there were 7 games unbeaten. Which it was the joint best run that Everton have had since 2014, I think. They can't keep changing managers. They can't keep having this cycle of things not going well, and then the manager pays the price, and then he's got players there that are on top of somebody else's players, on top of somebody else's players. That's all Everton have done for the last 5-6 years. The first sign of difficulty that somebody's gone. It's not good. Frank wouldn't expect anything else. He wouldn't be trying to paint a picture that everything's great. It's not. But he's only had one transfer window where he's lost his best player. He's without his main striker all year. For him to go within one window would just be it would just sum up the dysfunctionality of the way that the club have been run over the last 6 or 7 years.
Dom, I wanted to ask you, it's a bit of a double question. First of all, Yerry Minas, whose contract's up in the summer, limped off with 15 minutes to go. Now, he's done that numerous times. It's not like it's the first time that Yerry Minas has gone off. And I think I sense a frustration from Everton fans from him. And also, why is there a continued injury problem with Calvert-Lewin that's gone on, it feels like, forever?
Yeah, I think Calvert-Lewin's been... your heart goes out to him, really, because it's been that never-ending sort of perpetual cycle where it all started, didn't it, with Rafa Benitez last year with his hamstring and his quad, and then the knee before the start of the season. Frank was absolutely delighted with the condition that he was in before the first game, and then he had the setback again just before they played Chelsea. And it's been one thing after another, really. I don't know whether it's one of those situations. Tommy, you'll know better than me. You've been in dressing rooms where someone's been they have an issue in one part of the body, and then to compensate it, something else starts going elsewhere while they're trying to manage it. But what a miss he's been.
Yeah.
Minas had fitness issues all the way through his time here on Merseyside. The very fact that they haven't looked at extending his contract yet would tell you that they would probably think about moving him on. And I think things will be improved as well at the weekend when Cody comes back, because he obviously couldn't play yesterday because of the loan agreement or the stipulations of his loan move. And the sooner he's back in, the better, because it feels much more solid when he's around. But unfortunately there are so many issues that need addressing.
Things feel very bleak then for Everton. Not so for Liverpool, who have stolen a march on some of their rivals in securing certainly a deal for the services of Cody Gakpo, around about 40 million, just short of. How do you see that one playing out? Is that going to be there's not going to be issues with that? He's going to be a signed and sealed thing for January. And will they be able to do more business? Do you expect more business for Liverpool?
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't like to say about more business, because Liverpool are so adept at keeping the cards close to the chest, and then all of a sudden delivering an ace, that it would be absolutely foolish to rule anything out or in. Yeah, as my understanding is that the Cody Gakpo is done. Everything was sorted. The people I spoke to in Holland last night told me that it's as good as done. Liverpool are still saying there's a couple of bits and bobs to finalise, but I don't see any issues with that being sorted out at all. It's well, I think there's still obviously big issues with Diogo Jota and Luis Diaz. I don't think they're going to be back for another couple of months, so they needed to do something. But it's a very, very exciting signing. Saw him at the World Cup. The fact that his name is being linked with an awful lot of clubs in Europe, and there's no doubt Liverpool have gazumped Manchester United here, because I was, all the talk in Qatar was that it was Erik ten Hag was leading the chase for him. So Liverpool have stolen the march on Manchester United like they did last year with Luis Diaz. Yeah. So it was a very, very good couple of hours for Liverpool yesterday, because that was a very, very big win at Aston Villa.
Yeah, and the way they played, it resembled last season more than what we see in the early performances of Liverpool this season, Dom, because they looked like, they created loads of chances. Núñez was a problem without being clinical, but caused Aston Villa a lot of issues. Salah was at his best, got himself a good goal. So lots of good things in the performance yesterday.
Yeah, there was some unsung performance as well yesterday. I mean, I thought Joel Matip was outstanding. Andy Robertson, the statistic that he's got for the most assists by a defender in Premier League history is absolutely incredible. I thought Jordan Henderson was quietly brilliant yesterday in terms of how he just kept things moving, winning the ball back, doing everything. The nasty stuff, the ugly stuff, to just make sure the team functions. Very, very polished performance yesterday, and I think they've put a marker down for the second half of the season.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.